Hello.
Hello. Thank you for being flexible.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
My kitty cat thanks you.
Oh, Kitty's doing all right, or?
Yeah, the kitty's fine. Just a throw up situation,
Oh, okay.
but I think it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Lauren. Lauren Yowei.
Hi. Nice to
I'm
meet
Lauren.
you.
Nice to meet you too.
Lauren's from San Francisco, but currently in New York City.
So true. Hi, I'm Lauren. I reached out to Curtis recently. I worked actually at WHYY last summer because I hear
Oh,
you're in Philly. I was the intern for this show they have called The Pulse, like their health and
uh,
science show.
yeah, that's very cool. I interned at WHYY way back in the day, and I actually early on in my career, I freelanced for the Pulse.
Oh, that's so
Oh,
fun.
but yeah, so we probably know the same people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really quickly, is this going to be for video or just audio?
Just audio.
Okay, good. Because I'm going to be sweating like a mofo. Let me just grab my towel. Because it's summertime in Philadelphia. Lauren, you know about this.
Yeah.
And I'm in my recording booth and I have to turn off the AC. Let me just grab my towel.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm back. I actually got
Oh, wait.
a Proxy sweat rag made for myself so I can seem a little more professional in interviews when I'm sweating my ass off.
Don't worry. Yeah, no, sweat away. We will not use the video.
Curtis, you have such a beautiful radio voice.
Do I?
You do. You
It's-
have like radio announcer voice.
It's not.
Like in the old school way,
Okay.
like people who want, when you think of like who's a radio announcer, like a really resonant voice.
Thanks. It used to get me in trouble though when in class. My teachers could hear it from across the room. So,
Well, now you have more appropriate platforms.
yeah, look at this. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Today we're speaking with Yowei Shaw. Yowei is a podcast producer, host, and emotional investigative journalist. She is the host and creator of Proxy, a podcast that investigates niche emotional conundrums through conversations with strangers who have relevant experience. Hello and welcome to the show, Yowei.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
Of course. Yeah, so happy to have you here. Actually, I need to introduce someone else too. Coming all the way from New York City, we have Lauren. Hey, Lauren, how's it going?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Lauren is going to be helping out this summer a little bit. She's got a little radio experience and is looking to do some interning. So welcome to the show too, Lauren.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Of course. Wait, where are you calling from?
I am calling from a very hot recording booth in my office in Philadelphia. I have the AC turned off, which is why I'm sweating profusely. But anything for the craft, am I right?
Yeah.
Calling from Philly.
Philly, yeah. Actually, Lauren lived there for 3 months last summer. Lauren, can you relate to the sweating?
Oh my God. You're in a jungle there because it's in between two rivers, and oh my God. I don't know where you live in Philly. Where do you live in Philly?
I live near the Wissahickon. So
Oh, beautiful.
thankfully I can cool off in the woods pretty easily. I'm like 10-minute walk from the woods, but like the walk to the woods. Oh my God. Yeah. I actually just took a friend on a hike recently, and it was like a new hang,
Mm-hmm.
And when you're hanging with someone new, you don't really want to like be sweating
Sweat through your clothes.
from every crevice. But maybe that'll, bring us closer, faster.
Yeah, I suppose. I've never been. Actually, I was telling Lauren I've never been. I've been to Boston and New York, but that's and DC. Those are the three East Coast places I've been. So maybe I got to put Philly on the list. Can you sell me on it? Why should I go to Philly?
Philly is honest. I love Philadelphia. It's like a big, small town. So like you're
Yeah.
like you get, all the things that you want from a big city, all the amenities, there's like a million restaurants and there's all kinds of different scenes, but it feels like a small town. And so you can always play that like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon game with people of like, okay, so you're in this scene. Okay, so who do I know that somebody else, like you can always make a connection.
Yeah.
And then you're also always meeting new people, which is beautiful and lovely.
That's how I describe San Francisco too. It's
Really?
people think of it as a big town, but it's really tiny. Like you bump into people all the time.
There are more dogs than kids in San Francisco. So the chances of you also knowing someone when walking around and stuff is very high.
Everybody got priced out, huh?
Yeah, there's that too. There's that too. Yeah.
That's not the case with Philadelphia. I'm still
Really?
selling. I'm still selling. If you can't tell.
Okay, yeah, no. All right, you've sold me. I will go. I will go one of these days. And then Lauren was talking about how there's kind of a controversy of trying to build a stadium in Chinatown.
Yes. Have you been following everything, Lauren, since you left?
Not as much since I left. I continue to keep in touch with some people who work at this community organization called Ginger Arts. I don't know if you know them,
Of course.
They are super involved. But I haven't been since I was there last. I haven't been since December, so I haven't been keeping up. But has there been any news?
Well, do you know the latest update?
No. Is it
Nah.
fortunate?
You're making a grimace. Lauren's making a grimace. Okay.
I just know I shouldn't be hopeful.
Okay, this is honestly like one of the only pieces of good news in this time that I can share.
Okay.
That gives it away. So basically what happened was city council and the mayor pushed the proposal for the Sixers stadium to go through. So it was going to be built in Chinatown and disrupt all these small businesses and just be very bad for the community. So all was lost. And then right after you left, in I think it was like end of January or beginning of February, we learned that the Sixers called it off.
Oh.
No
And so
way.
they are going to build a bigger, better stadium where the stadium right now currently is in South Philly. And it turned out it was all like a ruse to get a better deal with their South Philly stadium. And so all these politicians who sold out the community, like literally, like there have been studies, there were studies done to see like what did most Philadelphians want. Most Philadelphians did not want a stadium in Chinatown. And yet our politicians sold us out for money. And so it was just so delicious. It was honestly, it was a Lunar New Year miracle.
Wow.
It was so beautiful.
All right. Yeah. Get your hands off of Chinatown. Come on.
Thank God.
Sorry, this is like literally some of the best news politically that like I've heard of in a very long time. Does it give you a bit of pep in your step?
It's really reassuring to know, but it also at least reassuring to know that the community still was able to come together and rally so quickly. I think that's really beautiful through organizations like Spock and Ginger Arts, but holy moly, that's messed up. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
People that are supposed to be there showing up for the people that they represent.
Okay. Wow. That was not the reaction I was hoping for.
I'm really happy,
You're
honestly.
allowed to have the reaction. I was like, wow, I'm gonna make Lauren's day better. I'm going to make your week with this awesome news.
She's doing cartwheels on the inside, I think.
No, I'm very happy to know. I'm very happy to know.
I think Lauren's just very chill. I've only known her a little bit, but I think Lauren, this is an 11 for Lauren, I think.
This is me at peak excitement.
Like, I just found out about it today, and I'm excited. So,
oh, you knew about this?
No, I heard it from Lauren like 5 minutes ago.
I see. So, okay, well, now we can move on. Sorry, I think that's
cool.
very excited to give that news to Lauren.
For all our Philly listeners out there, that's good news for Chinatown. I think Chinatown's had its problems probably all around this country. So any good news is good news. A win for one Chinatown is a win for all Chinatowns, I think.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so if we flash back to like a 10-year-old Yowei, is there any hint that you would be a podcaster, radio host type person?
Not at all. No. Okay. No.
Storyteller?
No, not even. I was really shy as a kid and had trouble speaking up in class. And yeah, and also like I just come from a family where people don't talk very much in general. And we were never asked questions, like when we would eat dinner, it would be totally allowed for everyone to bring a book and read it in silence. Like there was just no talking.
Wow. Okay. That's another level. Yeah. Like everyone. So family of 4 or family?
Family of 5.
Family of 5 with 5 books open.
Yeah. Now it's just like cell phones. Now it's just like the phone. Right. And I have to like tell my parent. It's mainly my mom. Sorry to throw you under the bus, Mom. But she's the main culprit these days with her phone.
Okay. But then you go to college, and what were you thinking of doing in college?
Okay, so I really was very lost as a kid. Mm-hmm. Like I had a lot of teenage angst. I felt really bored. Nothing really mattered to me. I just didn't care about anything really. I majored in philosophy, politics, and economics at first, but then had a panic attack in my midterm for economics for econ, and I was like, okay, I guess that's not happening. And then what ended up happening was I spent a semester in DC working for a think tank that will not be named. Okay. But I had a very bad time, and I was really depressed. I didn't have friends. I was under 21, so I couldn't go out. And so I just listened to the entire archive of This American Life, which was I think 500 plus episodes at that point.
By then.
Or maybe less, maybe 400 something at that point. And then I just, it felt like I was in the dark. I was in a dark room, and then somebody turned on the light for me. Like that. I felt alive. I felt interested for the first time in people and current events. And I just felt things I hadn't felt before. And so I was like, okay, this is what I need to be doing.
Wow. That's cool. So, this led you. You could fill in the gaps here. So, apparently after college you end up at NPR. How draw the roadmap for Lauren here, especially draw a roadmap. How do you go from college to working at NPR?
Yeah. Well, so when I caught the radio bug, I was a sophomore in college, and at University of Pennsylvania, where I went, there was no journalism program, there was no radio program. And so I was just like, okay, I guess I'll switch to sociology. That feels kind of similar. And then I started reading everything I could on the internet about this thing called narrative podcasting. At the time, there were no jobs. It was just This American Life and Radiolab were the only narrative shops in town. And I was like, I'm never going to get a job, because why would you leave that job? It's so good. And so my ambition at the time was to get a job doing something for money. And then every once in a few years, if I was so lucky, get to contribute a story to This American Life. Like that was the extent of my ambition in the beginning. And that really put like a lot of gas in my tank. And so anyways, long story short, I got some internships at the local public radio stations. I got a lot of reps. And then I got a call from Elise Spiegel, the host and creator of Invisibilia, to apply for a job.
Wow.
That I would never, I literally saw the job posting and I was like, I'm not going to apply. Like, I'm never going to get that. And so, yeah. And then I applied and I got the job. So, yeah.
That's cool. So working for Invisibilia, how would you one sentence elevator pitch for Invisibilia? How do you describe that show?
I mean, there have been different phases of Invisibilia, but to be reductive, a documentary social science show about human behavior is how I would describe it. Yeah. And I have, I basically worked at NPR and Invisibilia for 7 years. And, before I'd gotten there, I had done some like audio documentaries, and I had done quite a bit of work, but like I would say, cut my chops at Invisibilia and learned so much from everyone there.
Yeah. Lauren, you want to do yours?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the end of your sentence segued so perfectly into what I wanted to ask, which is what was the biggest thing you think you learned co-hosting Invisibilia and those kinds of conversations? What was it like having that shared on NPR, especially also being the host of the show?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like before I became a co-host and like the editorial lead of Invisibilia, I learned how to make stuff. I learned how to score stories. I learned like what are the bones of narrative structure? How do I report? How do I investigate it? Like, just all the basics, to the point where I was like, okay, I don't have to freak out I don't have to spiral every time I'm about to like do a story because I know I feel like I can do this. Like I got the hang of it. And then when I became co-host, then it was like, oh, I have to learn this whole other set of skills. Which was really hard for me because I never saw myself as someone who sounds like a podcast host. I always was like, I'm going to be a producer, somebody who mostly is behind the scenes, making other people's stories. And honestly, like I love to do that. I love producing. But also, we'll have one story a year where I'm like the reporter on the mic. So yeah, it was like a shift in how I see myself, that I had a lot of hangups that I had to get through, that I think I'm finally a little bit more on my way. But I would say like my entire time at Invisibilia as the co-host, I was working through that.
I don't know. I think you sound great. I think you have a great voice.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious what you all think. Like maybe, when you have a hang up, it tends to, be irrational. It tends to, you have one experience as a kid and then like you glob on all these other random things. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can't do this thing because X, even though like nobody else sees it like that.
Right.
But I do feel with podcast hosting, there is a stereotype of what a podcast host sounds like. Like ideally you have a loud voice. Ideally you have a larger than life personality. Ideally you take up a lot of space in the room. Ideally, I mean, I'm mainly just thinking of like white dudes on mics, I suppose. Like that is kind of, but even in the narrative podcast space, it was men. Men are the people who are in the host seat primarily, at least, when I was coming up. But yeah, I'm curious, like, what do you all think?
It's weird though. I've always thought that Ira Glass does not sound like a podcast. So, he doesn't have a deep stentorial voice, or, and his presence and his delivery is very, just folksy, not folksy, but, just like a guy next door kind of voice. So I always thought NPR kind of broke the mold on those kind of things.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because basically it's like now everyone has Ira Glass voice, because it's like, it's like he broke the mold at the time from like your typical, NPR morning edition host.
Right.
And then now, and because now there's like, I was like copycatting Ira Glass for like, forever. I'm sure it's still there. I'm right now trying to like break out of that to find my own distinctive voice. Anyways, don't get me started on this. I could talk about this forever.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
This is like deep cut podcast.
Yeah, I know. Everyone out there. So we could get into the weeds on podcasting, but we're going to move forward. But unfortunately, we have to get to 2023 of your podcasting career. And I don't know if I ever heard a reason, but NPR for some reason had to cut $30 million from their podcasting budget. Was there any one thing in particular that led to that, or was it just a downturn in listenerships or sponsorships, or
it was the
political?
downturn in sponsorship revenue, which hit the media industry at large. So NPR is not an anomaly. Like there were layoffs that hit like all of the podcast shops, pretty much most journalism shops, I would say. There were layoffs that hit our colleagues, months before. And so the writing was on the wall. It was like, oh, okay. And this is going to happen to NPR at some point soon.
Yeah. So it was like I think they told you like a year to get ready, or how early did you know there was going to be something coming down the pike?
Okay. We had 30 days.
Oh, not a year.
30 days. That would be, I think, cruel and unusual punishment.
Okay, yeah.
For like to be like panicking for an entire year. But 30 days was still,
already
bad. Yeah. It sucked.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you guys were told that your show was being cut. As popular as it was, like it's one of those shows that had listeners, but maybe the ad revenue or the cost of the show was higher.
Yeah. Well, so basically what happened was NPR told us, the workers there, not in management, that layoffs were coming in 30 days, but we didn't know who. So then we would find out at the end of 30 days who was cut, and 10% of people would be cut. And so, I really didn't know until the day I got an email to like meet with HR. It's not totally surprising that Invisibilia was on the chopping block. Invisibilia is like an institution for sure. We had a huge listenership. I still disagree with the decision, but like I also can understand, because we cost too much to make, And that's sort of the pickle that all narrative podcast journalism finds itself in right now. So if you look around, Pineapple Street Media, which is another narrative podcast shop, that just shuttered and laid off all their employees. This American Life had layoffs recently. Like it's all over.
Yeah. So if audience out there, you want to hear more about Yowei's layoff, she actually has 3 episodes. Well, if you include 10,000 Thing episodes, more than 3 episodes talking about this and her journey. But there's a rainbow. There's a pot of gold at the end of this rainbow, right? That through this. So how long did it take you to get your feet under you again before you said, you know what, I'm going to do my own show. I'm going to call it Proxy. I'm going to do it independently. I'm going to do it in my sweaty little recording studio. How long did it take you to go from layoff to, starting Proxy?
To go from layoff girl to indie podcaster?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe a week after I left NPR, I went to a mixer, like a podcast mixer in Philadelphia. And someone from the local public radio station approached me and was like, hey, let me introduce myself. You should pitch me your new show. And it was just like I wasn't thinking about, I was just dealing with my
Yeah.
layoff feelings and feeling really strange to be out and about and feeling like, all the usual feelings of like shame and worthlessness.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happened. And I remember being like, yeah, I totally have something for you. I'll pitch you in a week. When in fact, I did not have a show in mind. But I was like, okay, I guess I got to come up with a show. So I took the week to come up with the premise for Proxy, and a PowerPoint pitch deck, and then pitched it. And then that really like launched the whole pitching process. Originally, I wasn't planning on doing it independent because that's bananas. It's bananas to do this independently. I was trying to like sell the show, and I had like a million meetings with podcast execs and, got some offers, but they wanted intellectual property. And I was just like, I cannot be put in the same situation where I'm making a beautiful, successful show and, some exec is like, oh, just a change in strategy. And then you have nothing, you're thrown out on your face. So that was like the summer of like pitching, while at the same time I was reporting a story about layoffs for like a big famous program, and then that got killed. And I think like what happened was like basically all of my a lot of my layoff feelings, maybe the deepest ones, I was keeping at bay. Because I was like, this is my comeback tour. Like, I'm going to pick the show. Like, I'm getting all these meetings. And I'm going to, like, have this, like, awesome story on this, like, fancy program. Like, this is, like, great. This is my comeback arc. And then the story got killed. And then I was like, it completely crushed me. And it's not really about the story being killed. Like, it's totally fine. I don't fault anyone. This is normal. We killed stories all the time at Invisibilia. It was just like my emotional kind of, it just flattened me. And then at that point, I was like really looking for just help in feeling better. And so I tried lots of things, lots and lots of things. But I think the method that really sealed the healing for me right before I started working on Proxy, literally right before I started working on the Layoff Trilogy series and like making the show and everything in earnest, I made this layoff music video, which is, long story short is I used to pole dance as a hobby. I'm not good. It's just for fun. And then I got it in my head that we had this recital coming up, and I was like, oh, like I need to make a layoff interpretive pole dance for the recital. Obviously, this is the only thing. This is the only correct course of action.
Yeah.
And then I was like, started practicing, coming up, choreographing my moves. And I was like, oh, I need to make my own layoff song, because shocker, there are not many layoff songs out there. And
or pole dancing, especially.
Exactly. That you'd want to dance to. So luckily, my husband is a music producer, and, he agreed to make me a song and teach me how to write lyrics and how to, I'm extremely musically untalented. He really did everything. And then we came up with this song. And then I came up with this premise of like, I need to be in a Kleenex box costume. And I'm going to it's going to be an interpretive pole dance where I, bang my head against the pole. Like, it's not going to be sexy. It's going to be like comically sad and stupid. And just like that shifted everything for me, because suddenly for, a good 4 months or so, I put a lot. I don't know if I've ever worked on anything. Well, no, I am working very hard on Proxy right now. But like, besides Proxy, that music video is probably the thing that I put the most work into. And like, suddenly when people ask me how I was doing, I didn't have to be like, Yeah, still underemployed, still, not feeling
Yeah.
good. I could be like, oh, I'm making this like stupid layoff music video. Do you want to see pictures of my
Yeah.
costume?
Working hard.
And then just like
Yeah.
I would share photos and then we could talk about that. And I think what it did was it rewired my associations with the layoff, my feelings with the layoff, which is like honestly like, I'm an emotional investigative journalist. We get into like this is like this is our beat, but like that's essentially what therapy does. That's essentially what
Yeah.
all the modalities of therapy do is like you have a painful memory and then you're trying to change your emotional associations around it so that it's not so
Hmm.
painful. And I think that's what
Yeah.
that stupid music video did for me.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And this lives on the internet?
It lives on the internet, unlike my 60 seconds on campus series, because I'm very proud of this. People should check it
Okay.
out.
Yeah.
People should check it out and like share it with people who've been like, I made it
Yeah.
for people who've been laid off. And the goal was to just like make people giggle who've been laid off.
Mm-hmm.
Will I ever find work? Guess I'll stay home and twerk. My inner voice is a jerk.
In a way, I mean, that's the premise of the show too, right? Is that someone's going through something difficult and you may or may not relate to it, but someone out there will relate to it. And you bring in, now sometimes they're professionals, therapists, but sometimes they're just people, right? Sometimes they're comedians or whatever. How would you describe now again, it probably changes a little bit throughout the year. It's been 1 year, over a year with Proxy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But how would you describe the premise, I guess, of Proxy?
Yeah. So, we are an emotional investigative show. We investigate your niche emotional conundrums by pairing you up with a proxy to talk to. And, because I get to make the rules here, the way that I'm defining proxy is a stranger who has relevant experience. So that could be a researcher who's studied your issue for
Yeah.
decades, or it could be someone who's been through the same issue, or even someone who's like on the opposite side of your problem, like maybe who's the villain in your story, but who's a stranger, so you don't, have personal beef.
Yeah.
And the way that I describe the show is like, think of sitting at a bar next to a stranger who just happens to have exactly the right experience to talk
Yeah.
through your conundrum with.
That's perfect. Yeah.
So it's not therapy. For the record,
Right.
It is not therapy. It is what we call emotional investigative journalism.
Yeah. That's perfect because that happens to all of us, right? Like, let's say you're going through a breakup or you've been laid off or, a divorce or something, and then someone comes along who's been through it or is going through it or, like you said, could be the bully in this scenario or whatever. That's kind of cool.
Thank you.
Lauren, you got your question?
Yeah, I mean, I love the term emotional investigative journalist, and I think that we're all human, so it makes sense. But why particularly do you think you are drawn to producing podcasts about emotions and social behavior? I think the concept is so interesting, and I don't know, that it's endlessly fascinating. And also, why do you yourself find it so fascinating?
Yeah, I love that question. Well, so I would say there's several reasons. Number one being, I am not good at emotions myself. Like I constantly do not know what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling it. I grew up in a household, shocker, where we didn't talk about emotions and there was,
Right.
a lot that was not said and not processed. And then I also feel as a journalist that we do not pay enough attention to feelings and emotional dynamics beyond the therapy context. Like we finally got into a place where like, yeah, emotions are like important. You should probably talk to someone about it. Therapy's cool. But we haven't, like, I feel like it's a huge hole in reporting and trying to understand relationships, institutions, social problems. I mean, politics, we get at it sometimes, but not in like a really smart, nuanced way. I just feel like it would be cool if I was not the only emotional investigative journalist. I welcome other people to join the beat. Like, that's really what I think I'm doing here on the show. Like, of course, it's like, it's kind of a fun, silly premise. We use detective music. We try to make it as entertaining to listen to as possible. But I'm like also dead serious. Like
Yeah.
I really think we need to understand emotions better. If we wanted a shot at like it is part of the puzzle to solving any problem, personally and also societally.
Yeah. Yeah, no, agreed. We are the Infatuasian podcast, and so your podcast is not AAPI centered, but it is created by an Asian American. And you had a couple episodes just recently that touched on a couple topics that I think a lot of my audience or a lot of the AAPI audience could relate to. One of them with comedian and podcast host Mike Nguyen. Most people know him, Asian Not Asian, a very popular show as well. And he came on to share his biggest regret, which was really fun. And then comedian, I forget her last name, but Aparna Nancherla, who is a stand-up comic, but also an introvert. And that kind of hits as people like myself who are fine in front of a crowd. Like I teach high school, I teach adolescents, I do a podcast, but I still would brand myself as an introvert,
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
So you can never tell from the outside. You really can't.
I think there's a lot of us out there that are forward-facing kind of people or have forward-facing kind of jobs, but when the door is shut, we just like to be alone.
Yes.
But could we talk about one of these or both of these episodes a little bit?
Yeah. I think I have more to say. I mean, so the regret episode is really, if you're someone who has regrets, I highly recommend listening to that one just because like Mike Nguyen is hilarious. I love him. And it's like a real regret of his that he's a comedian instead of a doctor. And we pair him up with a regret researcher who helps reframe his relationship with regret. And a lot of the research was pretty surprising. I myself don't have many regrets because my memory is abysmal. So I just forget things that hurt. Just like I just keep it moving.
That's not bad.
But in terms of like, the introvert episode, basically, like, I wonder if you relate, Curtis and Lauren. Basically, like, I feel ever since I became a host of a podcast, I've had this insecurity around just like not feeling like I have the right personality, just like I have trouble talking to people spontaneously. I don't want to talk to that many people, honestly. Like and I'm a podcast host. What the heck? Like, I like talking to people in very controlled settings in this particular way, in an interview setting, and where I get to prepare my questions and read books and think about it for a long time so I can be really prepared. I just felt like I got a lot of feedback in the beginning when I had this job change that like people were surprised and people were like, you don't seem like a podcast host. Literally, a neighbor said this to me.
To your face.
To my face. Was like, you don't seem like you have the right personality for that. And like, she doesn't know that she was like, pressing on a deep wound. But I talked about that for a very long time. And so added on top of that is this stereotype that is insidious about Asian women being like meek and submissive and quiet and docile, which, you know, is an ugly stereotype, you know? And so I've just, for, you know, my whole life kind of wrestled with that stereotype because I'm like, but wait a minute, I am quiet and I tend to be nice and agree with people. And wait, am I the stereotype? Like, you know, and I feel like with any stereotype or most stereotypes, it's like cool to buck the stereotype.
Yeah.
You know, because then you're being rebellious. You know, so like Ali Wong, like who I mean, she's
classic,
hilarious, and you know, and also she bucks the stereotype of a meek, submissive, docile, quiet woman, Asian woman.
1,000%.
Yeah, and so it's like it's cool to. So I have been jealous of like loud, brash, bitchy Asian women my whole life. Wanted to be like them, and have even, you know, sometimes like tried to try on that persona. It's just not me. It really isn't. And then I read Aparna Nancherla's memoir, this book of essays called Unreliable Narrator, and she has this chapter on being an introvert, and it was just like one of those moments where I'm like, oh, like I am doing the like spoken word snaps. Just like every single paragraph, there are tears that are like, you know, getting onto the page. Like, yeah, it was just, she talked about this exact conundrum. I felt like I was having a Proxy conversation with her, honestly, but like just with her book. And so I wanted to talk to her because she talked about this exact of being, you know, an Asian American woman who kind of conforms to the stereotype. And also you're in a public, you know, forward-facing role. You know, your job is to talk publicly. And so, so we had this conversation, and she was really, really smart and nice, and I learned a lot. And she talks about just like the pain of feeling like you have to fix your personality and how she moved through that. Yeah. Which is, I think, something that a lot of people can relate to, even if you're not, you know, you could like, you know, everyone has a wound or many. Yeah. You know?
No, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Thank you.
Was that the first one that you were the, what do you call it, client? That you were the one with the problem?
Yeah. Well, the Layoff trilogy, I guess the first episode is me. But I guess since we relaunched with Radiotopia, and I do have some more coming up that are me focused, but I'm trying to spread them out because I don't want to seem self-absorbed.
But no, I really enjoyed it. I think my audience would really enjoy it. So everyone, go check out not just that episode, but go check out episodes of Proxy. And good news for everyone out there, we have a special bonus. Since I'm going on vacation in a week, Yowei has agreed for me to be able to post one of her episodes on this feed. So everyone out there can, maybe we'll do the Mike episode, or I don't know.
You choose. Yeah, whichever one you would like to do.
Okay, so maybe we'll do the Mike Wynn episode. I think a lot of my audience might know Mike. We'll do that one next week. So everyone out there, you can listen to an episode of Proxy on the Infatuasian podcast, but you can listen to it right now or all the episodes wherever you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple, everywhere. Wherever you're listening to this, just slide over to the search bar and search up Proxy. I want to say it's a fun show, but also deep and important and really, really good. So thanks for sharing with us.
Thank you. Thank you for letting your audience know about it. It's great. I'm grateful.
Slide on over there, everyone. What do you have coming up for Proxy? You have anything new?
Okay, so of course. We have a lot of juicy episodes coming up. These might be our juiciest one. So
juicy.
Yeah, all so right. We have an episode about estrangement where we pair up this mother who was cut off by her two kids with a woman who cut off her parents for a Proxy conversation, and it was
Okay.
very intense and interesting. And yeah, I'm really excited about that one. We also have an episode where basically it's about forgiveness, about how to forgive a woman who wants to forgive someone but doesn't know how and has tried many methods. And so we pair her up with the foremost scientist, the foremost researcher on the science of forgiveness. And that was a really interesting episode. And then this one I haven't reported yet, but I am personally very excited to report this one.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a personal story. I have a conundrum where my husband's best friend and I, we love each other very much, but we have never had what I see as an effective interaction.
Huh.
Because I think, like, basically it's like it never goes anywhere and we don't like have fun, even though we love each other very much.
Yeah.
And my theory is that because we speak different languages, I speak the language of like, tell me everything, like feelings, like let's drop down to that intimate space where he is like such a bro. And I don't mean that in like a pejorative way at all. Like I think
It's just who he is, yeah.
bros can be like any gender. I think there are bros that exist of any gender, every subculture there is. But he's like always communicating on the level of banter and jokes and not feelings.
Wow.
And so,
Okay.
so that's my conundrum, and I got to figure it out for myself.
Cool. I'm already interested because I have a friend. I like him a lot, but I can't hang out with him. It's weird.
Wait a minute. Why? What do you
He's
think?
kind of a bro. He's kind of like, I'm not a bro. I'm such not a bro. And everything is a joke or everything is sarcasm and everything is trying to be funny or upset about something. He toggles between the two. He's either like super funny and positive or this is terrible and I hate this. Yeah. And so I just have never hung out with him, though I like him.
Wow. Okay, Curtis, let's talk later.
Okay.
I would maybe like to talk to you about this because I think it'd be very interesting because I feel like the gendered piece of this is going to be an important part to investigate. And I think it's interesting that you have this issue with your friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll follow up.
All right. You know where to get me. You know where to contact. Well, we're bumping against the clock, but we have time for a yow. A yow is your Asian opinion. So, Yowei Shaw, can we get your Asian opinion on some things?
Yes, please. I love that you call this a yow. Do you have merch yet for this?
No, I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
And
Excellent.
See if this is controversial. If it's my opinion, it'd be a Mao.
That, please. You have to do something with it. That's so good.
Okay. I don't want to get canceled in mainland China, but I don't have a lot of listeners in mainland China, so it's okay. It's okay.
I think
All right.
it's really good.
Yowei, what is your favorite Taiwanese street food?
Okay. It is a tie between black sesame steamed buns, which are so good.
So good.
And then scallion pancake beef rolls.
Oh,
With like gravy and like, the extra fresh scallions on top. Oh,
okay. Yeah. You're not wrong. All right. Besides Invisibilia and Proxy, what's your favorite podcast?
okay, so I listen to very few podcasts because I'm working all the time.
Yes.
So, but the ones that I do listen to right now are The Ezra Klein Show, 16th Minute of Fame, and my friend's show, Our Ancestors Were Messy, which is brilliant.
Okay. You know what? I haven't heard any of those, so I gotta go tune them in. All right. So this is just an opinion. What Asian or Asian American or Asian Canadian guest should I put on my bucket list to interview for the Infatuasian podcast?
Okay, so I think you should interview Eli Chen, who is a digital news producer at WUNC. And she's a Taiwanese American journalist. She used to work at National Geographic. She is also a really talented cartoonist and illustrator.
Huh.
And she makes these beautiful kind of like journo comics.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she's just really creative and funny. And she also got laid off a few years ago, and we connected
Okay.
over that. And she threw herself, her colleagues and Eli, they threw themselves a layoff shower.
Oh, wow.
And it was perfect. I mean, it's just like exactly, I don't know. It's like performance art. I love it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Adding her to the list. Excellent. And then we end with our signature question, which is, who is your infatuation? Infatuation is anyone in the Asian community, living or deceased, that you admire. So, Yowei Shaw, who is your infatuation?
Okay, so I to bring it back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the show with the stadium that did not get built in Chinatown, Philadelphia's Chinatown, because of a humongous community organizing effort. I would say this is like a community kind of infatuation.
Uh-huh.
I think it is incredible that, Philadelphia Chinatown has been able to like mobilize in this way against many threats over the years.
Yeah.
And they did it again. And it was a multiracial,
Huh.
multi-neighborhood
Yeah.
effort. Like it wasn't just Asian American immigrant
Yeah.
groups in the Chinatown neighborhood. There was hardcore solidarity from all over Philadelphia from many different groups. And that was yeah, I just have so much love for everyone who participated and saved our Chinatown.
Wow. Full circle. We started with the stadium talk and we're ending with stadium talk. Love it. So shout out to you all in Philadelphia, Chinatown, and beyond for protecting the neighborhood. I think that's important. That's super important. Well, unfortunately, I think that does it for our episode. Yowei, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. This is so fun.
It is fun. It is talking to podcasters is always fun. People should do more of it. Everyone out there, you can follow Yowei at Yowei Shaw. I'll put all these details in the show notes, or at Proxy Podcast. And there's also a website, proxypodcast.com. So support them wherever you can and give them a listen. And as I mentioned, you can always write to Infatuasian Podcast at infatuasianpodcast@gmail.com. Hey, Lauren, first episode under your belt. Thanks for coming on and interning.
Thank you for having me and being willing to share this conversation with me. It's so fun.
Yeah, it is fun, right? See, now you're hooked. Now you're going to have to come on more often. All right. So everyone out there, thank you so much for listening. Go give Proxy a listen. Thank you for giving us a listen. Let's see, on behalf of Yowei, Lauren, and myself, we hope that you're all happy, healthy, and safe out there. Thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.